everyone, it's Stephanie here, and I'm so excited to be here on the Hero Arts blog today, sharing a thank you card I've created for the holidays. For this card, I'm going to be doing a technique that I'm calling masked multi-ink stamping, which has been inspired by some of the multicolored stamping that Jennifer McGuire has been doing lately on some of her cards. So I'm taking her inspiration and I'm using this striped tree with star stamp as well as the stamp positioner to do my stamping. I've pre-drawn a pencil line there on that piece of paper so that I can just go ahead and put the stamp positioner against it. Just so that while I'm stamping, as I move that around, I just know where to line it back up so that I can keep the tree in the same spot every time. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm just taking some washi tape and just using a washi tape that I don't normally use, so I'm not too worried about wasting it. And I'm just going ahead and masking off sections of this tree stamp. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to do a bunch of stamping with different inks. I'm going to be using the soft pool as well as the silver and a couple of other Memento inks in these two shades of pink here. And I'm going to be stamping the tree in parts so that when I'm finished, the tree is multicolored. And what I'm doing to do the card set is I'm just switching up where I do the masking so that each card has a different look to the tree with different areas of different color. So I just went ahead there and stamped the soft pool ink onto that section of the tree that I had in between the two masked areas. And for this tree I'm doing increments of 3. So I'm doing 3 of those different pointed pieces at one time, and then I'll carry on and do the next one and change it up and do a different color. So I also masked off the top of the tree, which is the star area as well, just because I don't want that to end up the pool color. I'm going to do that in the silver color when I'm done the entire middle portion of the tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through this whole tree area and continue to do this masking technique. You could try and just use your ink pad without the masking and just try and touch the ink pad against the areas that you want the ink on, and then just use a baby wipe to wipe off the excess. I like this a little bit better just because it kind of prevents that stray ink a little bit more than doing it the other way does. But as you can see here, I still was a little bit careful and made sure that if any of it went outside of those washy areas that I completely got it wiped off of that tree before I did any of the stamping. The good thing is that as you're stamping it, each of the areas completely line up on top of one another. So even if you get a little bit of ink on a different area where you don't intend for it to go, more than likely one of the other ink colors is going to cover it up. So it's not too much of a problem if that does happen. So you can see there I did the lighter pink color, and now I'm at the very bottom of the tree, and you can see I'm just positioning that Stamp-O-Majic exactly over that pencil line each time that I move it, and that keeps that tree completely lined up and looks like I've stamped the stamp just once and it's just magically become multicolored. So now that I have the inside area of the tree done, I just went ahead and masked the bottom area as well as the top area, and then I put that same silver ink that I used in the center of the tree on the star in the bottom, and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that one more time. This new silver shadow ink is by far one of my favorite inks right now. I love the consistency on the paper. It has great coverage and it's just a great silver color, and I can definitely see myself using it a lot throughout the holidays. So now that I have the tree all stamped, I want to go ahead and just do the background area of my card base. And I have this tiny star stamp that just came out recently as well, and it's one of my favorites right now for backgrounds. It's just a great background image with all those stars, and I love the contrast between the larger and then the smaller. So just a really fun background stamp. So I just went ahead and used that same silver ink that I've been using in the tree, and I'm just using a Shallows note card, which is the lightest of the pool colors, and I'm just going to go ahead and gently place that on top so it doesn't shift at all, and just get a piece of scratch paper there and lay it on top, and then I'm just going to hold one hand down while I move the other to completely make sure I have that whole image all over this background so that I don't have any areas that the ink misses at all. And then once I got that where I think it's good and covered, I'm just going to go ahead and peel that up, and you can see there how great that silver looks against the Shallows note card. Probably a favorite color combination right now, so you'll be seeing that silver a lot on the Shallow pool color because it just looks so great together. So now that I have the background stamped, I'm just going to let that dry a bit. You do want to let that silver ink dry. It just takes a little bit longer than most of the other shadow inks. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this tree panel, which is going to be the main focus of the card. And since this is a holiday thank you card set, I'm just going to use this Many Thanks sentiment stamp from the Thanks a Bunch clear stamp set, which is another great sentiment set. It just has so many great different thank you sayings, so it works perfect for a lot of different cards. So I just used the Hero Hues black ink and stamped that at the bottom there, and that completes that panel area. So once all of that is adhered, or stamped on there, sorry, you can I just kind of placed it on top to figure out where I want to adhere it. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on there and go ahead and lay that down onto the card base. And I'm going to position it a little bit to the left. I usually like to have whatever my stamped panel is when I do a card with this type of design. I like to either kind of position it to the left or to the right, just depending on the design and what kind of mood I'm in. I just think it adds a little bit more character to the card than having it directly right in the center of the card base. So now that I have that on there, I felt like the white kind of blended into the background a little bit too much, and I wanted to separate that silver ink on the white panel and on the background. So I just went ahead and cut two very thin strips from the Tide layering paper, which is I believe the middle shade of the Pool layering papers. And I just used a Zig glue pen to add some glue down along the edges of the white piece, and then just laid those darker Pool strips on top. And then that just kind of defines that middle panel and just makes it stand out against that starry background. So now that I have that on there, I'm just taking some Hero Arts gems and placing those onto the white panel just to give it a little bit more definition and a little bit more detail. And then I'm just using my 1/4 inch rounder on my corner chomper to finish off this card and round the corners. So now you can see I have this great thank you card that's all ready to go, and we're way ahead of the holidays, so I know that I'll have some on hand when I need them. And I'm just going to show here a couple more examples of the same card that I created, but with different colors. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.